folks, HR Funk here with my Smith & Wesson 745 pistol. Now if you're a long-time viewer, you may remember several years ago I did a tabletop review of the 745, but I didn't actually come out to the range and do any shooting with it. Now if you didn't see that original video or you're not familiar with the 745, it was Smith & Wesson's offering from the mid-1980s through the early 1990s to the action pistol shooting world. In fact, this model that I have was manufactured in 1986 to commemorate the 25-year anniversary of the International Practical Shooting Confederation. And the pistol was really laid out for that purpose from the get-go. It is a single action pistol, and it was manufactured years before Smith & Wesson ever decided to manufacture a 1911 of their own. Now back in the mid-1980s, as today, the 1911 platform dominated a huge portion of the competitive shooting market. And the 745 was something Smith & Wesson was aiming at that market to get some of the market share. Unfortunately, the design never really picked up and took off. In fact, the very fact that the 1911 is still the dominant design and the 745 is relatively obscure indicates that it was not a runaway success. But in any regard, it was a pretty good pistol, and if you find one today, they still are pretty good pistols. And I'm going to run this one through its paces a little bit just to see what kind of performance you can expect out of this mid-1980s Smith & Wesson 745. Now, another thing to keep in mind, nowadays, if this pistol was manufactured, it would be a Performance Center offering. This was actually manufactured before Smith & Wesson had a Performance Center. So again, when we look at it, we have a blued steel slide, we have a stainless steel frame, we have the nice wood panels, we have an extended magazine release, we have a very large safety lever, which by the way, only works to allow the pistol to be fired in single action. With the safety on, it is a hammer blocking safety, so the hammer will still fall, but the pistol won't fire when the safety is engaged. Down is on for the safety, and up is off. So the safety operates exactly the opposite of a 1911 safety. Even so, I'm still going to do some shooting, and we'll see how the 745 does. Okay folks, we are loaded up and ready to go. The first order of business is going to be a simple accuracy test from 30 feet. And there we go, 5 shots, all in the black from 30 feet. Overall group size there is probably 1.25 inches, probably a little less than 1.5 inches, I'd say. Well, the slow fire accuracy looked pretty good on the bullseye target. Now let's speed things up a little bit. We're back at 50 feet, and we're going to try some faster shooting on the human silhouette style target. Let's see how it does from this distance. Okay, not bad from 50 feet. All of these shots except one stayed in about a 2.5, maybe a 3-inch group there, pretty well centered in the chest. I pulled this one a little bit low, still in the chest, just the opposite side of the chest. Not difficult at all to keep them there. This trigger is considerably different than a 1911 trigger. It is hinged at the top, so it feels a little bit more like a standard Smith & Wesson pistol, but it still has a nice break, an easy let off, and it's easy to keep the shots where you want them. And here we go, failure drills with the 745. 2 shots to the body, 1 shot to the head. We'll do 3 of them. And I didn't mention it before, but this is from a distance of 20 feet. No real difficulty at all there, folks, keeping the body shots in the body, head shots in the head. This one was trying to get away from me, but it still stayed inside the preferred area of the target. And how about a multiple adversary drill, folks? This time I'm going to shoot 1 shot at the target on the right, 3 shots at the target on the left, and then 2 more shots at the target on the right. No problem whatsoever. Well, folks, so far we've seen the 745 doing pretty well against paper targets, but how is it going to do against a real threat? I hate to have to tell you, but the water bottle desperados are back, and we're going to see if the 745 is up to the match of the water bottle desperados. Here we go. I'd say yes, it was up to the task. Okay, folks, I can hear you out there, and I know what you're saying. Is the 745 a 20-foot tack driver? Let's find out. Well, there's 3 shots through the same hole, but they just weren't quite high enough to get that tack. I'm going to load up 3 more rounds and see if I can get that thing. You've got to be kidding me. Finally! Folks, the 745 really was a good pistol. If you happen across a good used one out there someplace, give it a look. It's probably going to be a really good performer for you, especially if you like Smith & Wesson pistols to begin with and you want something that's a little different than everybody else has. Again, there weren't too many of these things made, and they're relatively rare. You see them every once in a while at gun shows. You see them once in a great while in the used gun rack at a gun shop somewhere, but again, just not too many of these. And again, look at that great styling. Just a really nice pistol from the mid-1980s. And by the way, my original review of this pistol is still up. If you go back on my channel, you'll be able to find it back there. And I talk about the history and the development of the 745 in depth in that video. But today, I just wanted to bring it out and do some shooting. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave those below. And until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.